Hello, what is up? What's good? Welcome into the OnlyBets Sports Podcast, Tuesday edition alongside Stern Bets, Drew Luki. I am the Prince of Picks. Got an action-packed show lined up for you guys today. Of course, we got the WNBA back in action, full slate in Major League Baseball, tons of European soccer going on all over the pitch. So we've got qualifiers for Conference League, Europa League, Champions League. All those are taking place here over the next few days. And of course, we've got the PGA golf tournament coming up in a couple days. Mr. Brian Liberati will be on with us tomorrow to be covering that. So lots of sports here on the horizon and excited to get into it. Recapping yesterday, Moshe, I'll go to you first and then I'll recap my plays. Good morning. And how did you do yesterday?
Good morning. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Having some technical difficulties. Well, the Red Sox went off with a grand slam, I believe, in the 6th inning. They did not hit the 5th inning, so we lost the bet. But if you were following my premium articles, we went 3-1, 3-2 on the day overall. Red Sox did win by 2, just didn't get it done first 5 and the full game. So looking to bounce back. Got a whole new article set up. Looking forward to a great new week. Drew, if you can hear us, how did you do yesterday?
I think Drew's still having some connection issues. So while we wait for him, I'll go ahead and recap my plays, guys. Yesterday we went 1-0 for the show picks. Yesterday over in the ASEAN tournament, we had a 2-pick parlay where Philippines, Myanmar over 2.5 goals that hit. We also had Laos, Malaysia over 2.5 goals that hit as well. The parlay comes in at plus 106. Okay. Can anyone hear me? I'm hearing music in my ear. I'm hearing all kinds of different stuff. So, all right, making sure we're still connected. All right, very good. So looking at the parlay there, plus 106 for that. We also had a Bolivia play that pushed San Jose University over 3, landed on exactly 3 goals. So, 1-0 for the show plays for me. And by the way, we're on a 6-1-1 run right now in the ASEAN tournament. So, absolutely crushing this international Eastern Asian tournament so far. So hopefully you guys are able to get those on your books. And for those of you who are not, I apologize, but we're crushing it.
Yeah, well done, sir. Well done indeed. I am so upset that I cannot be following these plays. It's a little ridiculous. But you know what? You get what you get. Drew, how you do yesterday?
Yeah, it didn't go so well. I know Max Fried had like a 30 plus pitch first inning. That's kind of what we didn't want to see. I didn't necessarily hit, but it was a plus money play, so I was unfortunate. But I do expect Garrett Cole to me being expected to go deep today. Not necessarily my play, but we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, 100%. Also, something to note with key Yankee injuries, their defense is just atrocious. They're moving people around the board, and it's just not pretty. Cody Bellinger is one of the best outfielders in the game, and when you take him out, it's just so painfully obvious how much he adds to the game. And he's not alone. Oh my gosh, there was like 3 solid mistakes in that first inning where Max Fried pitched pretty well. It was really just the defense behind him that really failed him. Gosh, thank God the Yankees are hitting, because that'd just be an embarrassing loss. All right, let's get into it. Drew, where are you going first in the MLB slate today?
Yeah, I know people are having DK is giving out MLB all-purpose boosts across the board. So I know I have like today I have a 25% all-purpose boost. I say take advantage of them. And what I'm going to use it on is Sandy Alcantara. I think we have. I know we did him. I did him. I think it was a couple weeks ago with his last start, and I just think again this is pretty insane value. The 25% boost that you can use if you have a 50% boost, but minus 130 with the boost, minus 160 without it. But Sandy over 17 and a half outs. The Marlins don't really necessarily care about his workload, about working him, because they know they'll probably eventually trade him. But also, Sandy is one of those guys where he wants to pitch deep. He's a veteran. And who's going to tell that behemoth of a man that you have to get out of the game? Just look at his last games. So if you go to his last 10 games, I'm not kidding when I say this, but his last 10 games, he's pitched 6 or more innings 9 out of 10 times. And there's only one time he hasn't, and that was that was at the Rockies in Coors Field with 5.2. So, and he's facing the Phillies today. He's facing the Phillies at home. Place, of course, he's very familiar with. He doesn't do necessarily bad against Phillies. Phillies are an off and on team, but we all know Sandy's a workhorse. His last start against the Astros, at the Astros, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 5 runs, but they still let him go 7 with 108 pitches. He's going to have about, I believe, 6 full days of rest. And I just think this is insane value. I don't know why Vegas keeps putting these kind of lines out for Sandy. So yeah, give me Sandy over 7.5 outs.
Yeah, I would say it's juiced appropriately. Sandy has been known to go deep, as you've been saying. He's been pretty consistent in that. And the Phillies don't actually push out starting pitchers earlier than most teams. I wouldn't say they're special in that way. They
Very
don't
aggressive team.
particularly walk that much. They strike out decent amount. This is a pretty good look, and I'm on board. Not on board on the Marlins overall. I do lean over in that game, but I definitely think Alcantara can go pretty far into this one. I'm going on a first 3 under. Welcome the first 3 unders back. Looking to get back in the winning seat here. Give me the Brewers Giants first 3 under 2.5. I got this at -130 last night on Caesars. I would not pay more than -145 on this one. But again, time to bounce out of this funk. We got a run depressant Oracle Park that, despite the 11.5 miles per hour wind blowing out, the ballpark size and the 65-degree weather should keep this one lower scoring overall. And what is not to like about this kid, Logan Henderson from Milwaukee? He has allowed 2 or less runs in all but one game. To be fair, he's only pitched 8 games this season, but he's showcasing phenomenal control. He has a 31.8% strikeout rate, less than 5% walk rate, and the barrel and ground ball rates aren't necessarily the best, but the ability to induce weak contact, 36.5%, gets him out of a lot of trouble. I'm targeting the first 3 innings because opponents are hitting just 188 the first time around the order with an OPS of 566. Giants are really just average in run creation in the first 3 innings over the last couple of months, and I don't expect them to heat up early. On the other side, Landon Root, thank you, Drew, for the Giants side of this. He also has opponents hitting just 188 the first time around the order with an OPS of 624. Roop also seems to be coming into form after a really rough month or so. His control can be off once in a while, but the overall underlying metrics are shaping up nicely. He features a 4.1% barrel rate to a 30% hard hit rate with a decent 24.5% strikeout rate. The Brewers, for all their hitting this year, which is phenomenal, they don't actually rank that high in hitting early in games. They rank 20th in first 3 run creation over the last couple of months. This might be sweaty. I think that the juice is worth the squeeze, and I'm ready to get back on the cash horse. Drew, any thoughts on this one?
No, I definitely like this play a lot. If there's something I will definitely say about the Giants is they do have starting pitching that can, get the job done at the end of the day. And Oracle Park is a favorable pitching ballpark. I mean, I was surprised that we saw Tyler Mahle yesterday go 6 shutout innings, and the Giants shut out the Brewers. But this Oracle Park is like historically one of the worst stadiums to hit in, especially by the bay. There's always a breeze. And I expect this to be kind of another pitching duel at the end of the day. Offenses come to die at Oracle, especially at later in the evening. The best time to hit is not in the evening.
100%. Prince, any thoughts on the MLB today?
Nope, no thoughts for me.
All right, let's get into the WNBA. We are back from the All-Star break. What do we got? What are we looking at?
Yep, we do have a pretty loaded slate for the W tonight. But real quick, guys, I'm going to get into a live play. We do have Champions League qualifying going on right now. This is going to be a live play exclusive to the podcast listeners here. So, again, if you guys are listening to the replay, join us 11:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday at OnlyBets Podcast over on X. Looking at, again, Champions League qualifying. We have Cups playing Saba FK. Saba FK are currently up 1-0 on the aggregate. But I like Cups to score in this one. It is heavily juiced right now, so we're sitting around -200 from the book that I saw. Shop around. You might be able to find a better price. If you want to wait a little bit, you can to get a better price, but obviously the longer you wait, the more likely there is to be a goal. But looking at Cubs here, they've scored a home goal in 60 of their last 74 home matches. So that's an 81% clip right now that Cubs is scoring at home when you look at their last 74 home games. So likely to see a goal here at some point from Cubs being the home team, especially down 1-0 on the aggregate scoreline. So my play is going to be, depending on how your book words it, either Cubs to score a goal or Saba FK clean sheet no. Either of those things are essentially the same bet. We're looking for a Cubs goal here at some point. So just a real quick live bet for you guys. Play it at any price you like. But again, the numbers are pretty staggering. There are 60 of the last 74 home matches. Cubs has seen a goal being scored on their end. So just a quick live play for you guys there. But getting into the W here tonight, we do have a decent slate tonight. A couple games that I'm looking at. One of them is going to be the Vegas Aces hosting the Portland Fire. I'm all over the Aces here. I will lay the 10.5 points. You're going to get that at minus 115. I think this is just a matchup of two teams going in different directions right now. Typically, after the All-Star break, you see these teams that have championship pedigree. They really start to put their foot on the gas. They start to really get into playoff mode here. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see from the Aces. We saw this last year from the Aces. If those of you who remember, the Aces were really highly touted in the preseason and one of the favorites to win it all. They started off the season very rough. They were struggling all the way up until the All-Star break. And then after the All-Star break, they absolutely just obliterated the league all the way and into the winning the WNBA championship. So we saw from them last year. I think we're going to see it from them again this season, playing against Portland, just a vastly inferior team to the Vegas Aces here. So give me the Vegas Aces in a nice bounce back spot here to start the post All-Star break, and I will lay the 10.5. Same story here for the Liberty and the Sparks. Liberty, I see a lot of similarities with the Liberty this season that we saw with the Aces last season. Again, Liberty were highly touted at the beginning of the season to make a deep run in the playoffs. They have struggled to meet those expectations so far. Some of that's due to injury, some of that's due to poor play. They are on a little bit of a slump right now, but they're playing a Sparks team that's lost 5 in a row, one of the worst home records in the WNBA. And I think if there was ever a bounce back spot for the Liberty, it would be tonight against a struggling LA Sparks team, still without Kelsey Plum, by far their best player. So I'm going to lay the 4.5 here with the New York Liberty on the road in what could be a game that kind of gets things going for them post All-Star break again. A team with championship aspirations, and I think this could be a good spot for them to get things going in the right direction. So give me the Liberty minus 4.5 at minus 115. Give me the Vegas Aces minus 10.5. Again at minus 115.
Absolutely love it. Also, shout out MGM and Bet Rivers both have boosts for WNBA today. Definitely take advantage of that. Also, Bet Rivers, I saw had the best prices on these this morning, so definitely go check it out.
Yeah, DK also has a boost. Sorry, DK also has a boost as well. So for WNBA,
I think DK is limiting me severely. I did not get the all general purpose boost. I did happen to win the up to early promo. Shout out, by the way, all 4 of the up to early promos that I mentioned yesterday: Astros, Yankees, Red Sox. Who was the last team? All 4 teams though that I mentioned on yesterday's podcast all smashed the up to early promo. Surprised by the Astros, but that was really nice. So I'm pretty sure.
Was it the Cubs?
Yes,
was it the Cubs?
It was the Cubs.
Yeah.
And I won quite a bit of money yesterday on those promos, and I think that the books are just like, all right, settle down, young gun. You're not taking any more money from me.
Yep, you're limited. You're done.
So I'll see when those boosts come back. All right, what else do we got for the slate today? Do we have any soccer to talk about?
Yeah, we do have soccer. Of course, we've got, like I said, we've got Champions League qualifying this afternoon, and we've also got African Cup, women's African Cup international tournament that I'll have a play for as well. We'll go ahead and get into the Champions League qualifying first. 2:45 p.m. Eastern kickoff, where we have Hearts. Hearts of Midlothian taking on Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz has a commanding 4-0 lead in these aggregate scoreline. I don't expect the Hearts to advance from this one, but I do expect them to show some pride here. I think they can get the win. I'll take them straight up on the money line, minus 125. This is the same Hearts team that basically had the SPL locked up for all of last season up until the final day against Celtic. But this is a quality side here in Hearts, and I can't see them going out without at least a home victory here in front of their fans. Disappointing to see them going down 4-0. Basically, it's a tall task. Highly unlikely that they'll be able to make up that aggregate, but I can see maybe a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 type of victory for Hearts here. So I'll take Hearts on the money line at minus 125 in the Champions League qualifying. Another play here that I like, we're going to go to the Faroe Islands Premier League, where we have a matchup between B36 Torshavn taking on AB Argeir. Sorry if I mispronounced any of those, but this one I'm liking goals here. Over 3 goals at plus 100. You have two teams that score and concede on a regular basis. Looking at their head-to-head, this says hit or push in virtually all of their head-to-head matchups. Just counting the numbers here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their last 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 of their last 10 head-to-head. We've seen at least 3 goals between these two sides. So playing the trends here in one of the higher scoring leagues. Faroe Islands Premier League, B36 Torshavn, AB Argeir, over 3 goals at plus 100. And then my final play for today is going to be, again, in the Women's African Cup of Nations. We're going to try our hand here in this tournament. We're looking at a match this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern. Nigeria taking on Malawi. Quite a gap in talent between these two sides, specifically in the world rankings in FIFA. You got Nigeria coming in at 36. Malawi at a whopping 153. And I think that's going to be shown here in this match. I think Nigeria rolls in this one. Everything's heavily juiced towards Nigeria. So the way that I'm going to play it is I'm going to take Nigeria to score first and over 2.5 total goals. You're going to get that at a very playable price, minus 125. I was really surprised to see that at such a low price here, but I'll absolutely take it. We just need 3 goals in this game, minimum, and we just need Nigeria to score first. If those two things happen, we'll cash the bet. So Nigeria, women's to score first, plus over 2.5 total goals, and that comes in at minus 125.
Absolutely love it. Looking forward to getting some action in today. We also have, I didn't mention it earlier, but we do have all day baseball with a couple double headers. So looking forward to having some sports to watch during our workday. Drew, any thoughts on soccer or the WNBA?
No, no thoughts on that. I do have a couple NFL futures, though, when we do get to it.
Sorry, forgot the mute button there. Prince, you cool with going straight into NFL futures?
I am. One thing I want to talk about real quick, just make a note of, and I gave this out over on the premium picks earlier. One league I want you guys to pay attention here to my listeners is the Uzbekistan Superliga. We're seeing a trend here with this league of almost no goals in the first half in almost virtually every game over the last, I would say, several weeks. It seems to be a occurring theme here where you see at most 1 goal in the first half. And the second half, for whatever reason, all the goals tend to flow in the second half. So there are multiple ways to play this. I gave this out, again, on the premium pick. I gave out a parlay for all 3 games to hit under 1 goal. Right now, we're sitting at the 45th minute of all 3 games. All 3 games are 0-0. So it looks like we're going to catch a plus 500 parlay over on the VIP channel. Something for you guys to keep in mind here. If you want to play under 1s in the first half, if you want to play highest scoring half, second half, I think those are 2 looks that I would absolutely look at on a regular basis in the Uzbekistan Superliga. Again, this is an occurring trend here that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks. We'll see how long it lasts, but so far, it seems to be hitting on a fairly regular basis, and it looks like it's likely to hit again, barring any late goals here in stoppage time. But just something I wanted to give the listeners something to look at there.
Fantastic looks. Also been very happy following your premium picks. It's been a lot of fun, even if it takes me a half an hour to put them all in. It's mostly just because I have to find the best lines and they're not available on Pick'It.
Yeah, and also blame all these international countries with their foreign names and hard to spell consonants after consonants and no vowels and that type of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Drew, what do you got for NFL futures? I do actually have a play in NFL futures, so I'm going to give that out. But what do you got first?
Yeah, so I mentioned yesterday I was going to look at the last undefeated team prop. Of course, I'll have more NFL futures on the way, but I want to go over this kind of fun one. I think this one has some good value that you can intake with it. I have 2. here. And I base it off, by the way, this is not who I think the best team is to all the listeners and everyone. This is based off, I'm looking at the schedule, right? This whoever who's the last undefeated team doesn't mean they're going to win it all. But I looked at the Chiefs' schedule. They I've like kind of many of a gauntlet in the beginning. The Rams do. I think the Rams they play the Niners the first week, and then I think they play the Seahawks eventually. The Seahawks do have a little bit of a tough schedule in the beginning, but the one that I think is there's a reason why it's plus 750 is the first one is the Ravens. If you look at the Ravens schedule, right? I'm not saying nothing is a cupcake in the NFL. These are NFL teams any given Sunday, but their first set of games, they play the Colts, the Saints, the Cowboys, the Titans, the Falcons, then the Browns, and then the Bengals. So this is a team, I believe, they're not playing one of those like top five formidable teams, right? In my opinion, they're playing the Colts. We don't know how Daniel Jones, is going to be healthy. The Saints, the Cowboys are going to be a good team, but not the status of the Bills and such, and the Titans and the Falcons and the Browns. I think this is a very favorable schedule. In my personal opinion, for the Ravens to possibly be the last one ever team. I know they're going to miss John Harbaugh, but at the end of the day, they still have Lamar and Derrick Henry, and I expect them to bounce back this year, and they don't really play a team like a top team until the Bills like week 7. So I want to know before I go to my next one, I want to know your guys' kind of take on my thought process for that.
Prince, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are in for a good season. I don't think the loss of John Harbaugh is going to be as much of a detriment as maybe some people think. To your point, they still have a talented team. Anytime you got Lamar Jackson, you're always going to have a chance. And Derrick Henry, right? We're expecting the wheels to fall off at some point. It always does with running backs. So we're kind of milking the cow a little bit in that sense and seeing how much we can get out of him. If you're the Ravens, but in any case, yeah, I mean, Ravens offensively are always going to be an elite team. Of course, you got Isaiah. Actually, I think Isaiah likely left, if I'm not mistaken. I thought he went to another team, but I don't know if Mark Andrews is still there. I know there's been a lot of transitions with the Baltimore Ravens, especially on the offensively, but they always seem to have a good offense, and I think it's a tough division. Right, but I think they're just as likely as any other team to make a deep run in the regular season.
I definitely agree on the easier strength of schedule. I just don't know. You know what I mean? Someone like Lamar Jackson, I think, plays really well in a good system. Harbaugh gave that to him, and it still wasn't enough. I think this season's really going to be dependent on their defense, which has always been kind of a liability, at least as of late. And then if you're looking at their division opponents, I don't know. Steelers getting better. Bengals, I definitely expect like a more of a breakout year. To be fair, I've said that 3 years in a row. And the Browns are going to be tough. So I don't know how many in-division wins they're going to be able to scrape together. I'm a little bit down on them overall. Just my personal opinion, but I do have to look into it a little bit further. Does that help, Drew? Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. For example, I definitely agree with that. I think they have an easier schedule to start, and I think they have a chance to be the last undefeated team in a way because, like, for example, the Bills have a gauntlet to start. They play the Texans, the Lions, the Chargers, Patriots, Rams. So something like that can be very hard in that matter to start out like consistently, and that's why I don't want to touch the Niners and stuff or like the Rams or the Seahawks to start undefeated because they all play each other, and I think they're going to beat each other up in the beginning. So that's how the schedule makers make it. I think I hit one last year when it came to the last undefeated team. The last one I'm going to go to with this, and this is reliant on this team to beat the Bills in the beginning. I know we're kind of high on this team to bounce back, but the other last undefeated team that I'm going to bet on, of course, you can bet on multiple of these because this high plus money, but the Lions at plus 1,000, right? So the thing about the Lions is they do play the Bills week 2, but their first week they actually have the easier schedule to start out of the Packers, Vikings, and Bears. So they play the Saints week 1. They play the Bills week 2. They play the Jets, Panthers, then Cardinals, and then that's when they face the Packers, Vikings, Dolphins. So this is a team that if they're able to beat the Bills, right, they have the Jets, Panthers, and Cardinals. And if then they're able to beat the Packers at home, they have the Vikings and Dolphins. So this is a team that could start out like 7-0 or something like that, and I don't think this is a bad value at all, especially since the Packers have to face multiple of different hard teams in the beginning of the season, and we're looking at a team overall in the Lions that we expect to bounce back. The injuries on defense hurt them, and I think this is kind of like a sleeper team to start out and possibly be the last undefeated team, especially if they're able to pick up what their offense is because they do have majority of their easier scheduled teams in the beginning of the season.
I'm much more on board with the Lions. To be fair, I've mentioned this a few times. My mom's from Detroit. I grew up like semi a Detroit fan. Yeah, defense is a liability in terms of the injuries is an understatement of the year. The last 2 years, they should have won 2 years ago. It's my firm belief. If they didn't have one of their star defenders going out week after week, I think that they should have and could have won that season. Last year was disappointing for sure, but again, they weren't healthy. If they're healthy this year, I think they're going to be the team to beat for sure. I really like the Lions this year.
No, I definitely
Prince,
agree with that. If they didn't have one of the star players, or honestly, they should have beat the Niners if Dan Campbell to make some questionable decisions, and then
yeah.
there wasn't a drop by like Reynolds on 4th and 1, and then they should have kicked the field goal there. But I was taken as a Niners fan, but I'll even admit it there. They should have beat us. So
That's for sure. Prince, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm sorry. What was the play for the Lions that you said it was plus 1,000? What's the play exactly though?
Oh, so the play is the same as the Ravens. So this is a fun thing I like to do. I did it last year too. I'll bet on 2 to 3 teams, the last undefeated team, right? The last undefeated team remaining. That's kind of what it is. So the last team that doesn't have a loss on their record.
So when do the Lions play the Bears? What week is that?
Yeah, they don't even play the Bears until I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, that's crazy. They don't play the Bears until November 26th. I think that's Thanksgiving.
Okay, so they might go undefeated until then. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, but like if you
I'm just
like,
kidding.
so I
know
like
that
to look
shit.
at the beginning of the schedule. So yeah, that's basically how I look at it
Yeah,
because
no, Lions are gonna be
no,
a good team for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I agree with you on that. It's gonna be a tough division for the Bears for sure. But actually, one play that I like, and I hate to say it because look, as much of a Bears fan as I am, I'm also a Cardinals fan. I grew up in Arizona. Watched the Cardinals were actually the first football team that I ever watched. Of course, I was kind of a young, I was under 10 years old, so didn't really know what I was really watching, but I just remember watching them. So ever since then, they've kind of become my 1B team. I think they're going to be absolutely horrible this season. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league. I'm going to take their under 3.5 wins at plus 115. You're looking at the division, by far the toughest division in the NFL, in my opinion. I think when you look at the other 3 teams, they're just vastly better than the Cardinals. I don't see how the Cardinals win a single game in the division. So that's 6 losses right there. Then you talk about 11 more games. Can they go 3-8 in those 11 games? I think so. I don't see them winning more than 3 games total. I think this team is just really bad. There's nothing there. I mean, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride. Apart from them, I really don't see outside of Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride what else you really have on this team. And so I think they're in for a long season. I definitely expect them to be one of the worst, if not the worst team. So curious to see what you guys think. But I know 3.5 is a super low number. You talk about 17 games. I don't see it personally. Give me the under 3.5 wins for the Cardinals at plus 115.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. You mentioned Trey McBride. I think that he's going to have a massive year offensively because, simple fact, who else are you throwing to? For the most part, Trey McBride is the centerpiece of that offense. And when you're playing from behind, which they likely are going to be a lot this season, you're going to be passing a whole lot of volume. Definitely like Trey McBride. Going to be picking him up on fantasy teams if I can. Looking for a best bet as well. Drew, any thoughts on Arizona?
yeah. Luckily, my wife's upstairs right now. But while working, but when I was like looking through their schedule, I don't know if I can see one or even 2 wins. The only ones I can think of are, but I think they'll be better because of Mendoza. because like I'm just looking at it right now, probably maybe the Jets, but like I want you guys to quickly stop me if you see a win. Chargers, Seahawks, Niners, Giants, Lions,
Oh, sorry, you
Rams.
said stop you.
Yeah.
First game of the year. First game, Chargers. Sorry. I'll get to my best bet in a second. But yeah,
Oh
I don't think
wait.
you.
Oh wait. You think Chargers? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think
You
the
think my
Chargers.
Cardinals give me the Chargers?
No, sorry. Opposite way. I was listening the wrong way. Yeah, Chargers are gonna destroy them.
Yeah.
So
I
so
would say
stop
Jets
him
is the
when
only
you.
one I can see, Prince. Honestly.
Yeah, keep going, Drew. Just stop, and we'll stop you. Stop you when
Oh
we see
yeah.
a team that the
Oh yeah.
if
Yeah.
we see a team that the Cardinals can win, then we stop them. All right, go ahead,
Okay.
Drew.
Perfect. Then Giants, Lions, Rams, Broncos, Cowboys, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs, Commanders, Eagles, Jets, uh, Saints, Raiders, Niners.
Oh my God, no, not that. I mean, maybe the Saints, but I don't even see a game where they'd be favored in, let alone win.
I'm
Uh,
a fan of Tyler Shough.
Honestly, like, man, yeah, Tyler Shook's a good quarterback. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, like I said, I don't even see a game they'd even be favored in. So, no, yeah, that makes me feel even better. Yeah, I don't see it. Stern,
Yeah.
any thoughts?
No, yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a pretty solid look.
4 wins is too much.
So I kind of spoke up
That's so sad.
I spoke up a little early, but if I'm looking for two teams that are going to make the playoffs, I think the Chargers are in a really good spot. Now, the individual line is minus 167, which isn't fantastic. I think the price is worth the admission, but you're talking about an offensive line that wasn't together. They had three key injuries. Two of the greatest players had season-ending injuries last year, and then they had a boatload of smaller injuries. They had the worst center in the entire NFL last year by stats, every statistical metric pretty much across the board. I think they only had 3 games where they had their full starting offensive line together all season, and that actually might be too many. They're going to be getting Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater back. That's going to be massive for Mike McDaniel. I really, really, really like Justin Herbert. We've been waiting for him to break out. Is this the year? Yes, I think it is. They have some of the most amazing talent in individual positions if they are healthy. I love them on their win total over. Love them to make the playoffs, and I'm going to parlay them with the Bills to make the playoffs as well. And you can get that at plus 109 over on DK. I put a half a unit on it. Tell me how this loses, Drew.
It does not because I am a big fan of Justin Herbert. You know, I've had I know people that are Justin Herbert, what's it called, Spectics or something like that. They're not a fan of him. When it comes to that, but pessimist per se. But something I'll say about him, he is tough. He played with a nearly like broken hand last year, and missing Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt when they have, and they're also, I'm not a big fan of Rogue Roman in this style of offense nowadays because he is not a modern day offensive person, offensive coordinator. He was made kind of really famous for the Niners Kaepernick area with things, and he's not a good, really passing kind of offense person at all. I know a lot of Chargers fans that hated him and despised him because he didn't know that, but missing Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, knock on wood, please, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt stay healthy. They're two of the best in the league. And I think they're not better until play. Mike McDaniels is going to leash what Herbert does best is throw the ball, consistent throwing ball, and actually have good passing schemes. I think Lad McConkey is going to take a step up. Quentin Johnson kind of came to his own a little bit. I do believe they have weapons. Mario and Hampton needs to also stay healthy as well too. So I expect with John Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel combo, this is going to be a really good team.
Yeah, 100%. I think that they are
Oh,
the
Jim
team to
Harbaugh.
beat this year. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did I mess up the name? Did I say the
Oh no
wrong
no no!
letter?
I messed it up. I said John on accident.
Because John is going to the New York Giants. And I mentioned this a few days ago, and I'm not I love the Giants, and I'm going to be rooting for them every single week. But I don't see how their path to the playoffs is pretty murky. They're playing in a tough division. I think the Cowboys are going to be much better this year. They're always regular in the regular season. They are incredible. It's really just the postseason where they start to struggle. And then the Eagles could also take a huge step forward, similar to the Lions, where you expect a big bounce back. You have to have the coach in the right mindset. Stop making those stupid plays, and then they're really going to be powerhouses. And I think those are the teams to beat in that division. And then Washington as well could make the step up. As you know, we saw amazing things year one, year two. There was a little bit of a slowdown, but this is a really tough division. And even though the Giants have a good team together, I don't think it's going to be enough. Prince or Prince, do you have any thoughts on the Giants this year?
On the Giants, not really. I think there's a lot of variables going on with them, so I don't really have a good feel yet. I mean, of course, John Harbaugh is a great coach, so I think obviously it's a massive addition right there. I think he's gonna set the culture and set the trends here for the Giants, a team that has kind of been, let's face it, just a little bit lost in the wilderness over the last several years. So I think he's gonna bring back some stability to the organization, and I think that's going to give them a foundation to be good. Is it whether it's this year, next year? I'm not sure what the timetable is, but I think brighter days ahead for the Giants for sure. I think the arrow is pointing in the right direction for them.
Yeah, long-term dynasty building. Think that terms. If they win 6 games this season, I think you can call that a win. Sadly. By the way, before I misspoke when I said in the WNBA that I had no bonus bets, or sorry, no boosts. I did have a boost, and I used it on the Liberty Sparks game. Ray Burrell under 15.5 points on DK. And then I went over on Bet Rivers and bet 15 plus points at minus 107, making a really nice payout with an option if she lands on 15 points exactly to cash twice. So just putting that out there. But Drew, any thoughts in the Giants outlook this season?
Yeah, I like the Giants this year. I think they're going to be one of the most interesting teams. I think it's one of the hardest teams probably for Vegas to judge because if anybody made some of the biggest changes and also the upside is probably the Giants because think about it, they got a new coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach, clearly. Jackson Dart, see the leap he's going to take because he got inserted like mid-year and stuff, and he's going to have a whole offseason to learn under the system. I believe Neighbors is eventually supposed to come back healthy, so is Scadaboo and stuff and such like that. And their defense is only getting better. They have a lot of young talent, especially with Arville Reese. So I think this is one of the hardest teams to judge for Vegas. So if anyone wants to jump on the Giants when it comes to that, this is of course, the time to do it because I don't even think Vegas knows what to do.
Yeah, Prince, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but just curious. We've talked about the Giants and your home team. We've talked about the 49ers, Drew, and your home team. We talked a little bit about the Bears, but not enough. So I want to talk about them more. And I'm curious. I'm curious to see what you guys think as people outside of the Bears circle, outside of Chicago, kind of a more maybe a neutral viewpoint. I'm always going to be a little bit biased, a little bit pro Bears, probably. Just the fandom in me can't help it. But I know you're look. Let's just face it, Moshe, you're a little bit of a hater on the Bears. But
Slightly.
curious if you could put your haterism aside just a little bit and look at it just unbiasedly. What are your projections? What are your thoughts? What are your strengths and weaknesses? How do you see the Bears season playing out? And then Drew, I want your opinion next.
I see them similarly to the Lions of last year. Not that you should ever compare Detroit to Chicago, but what I mean by that is they're going to be heavily dependent on being injury free. I don't think the depth necessarily is there. Their defense has to take a step up, and if their defense doesn't, they have, I think, the 7th or 8th hardest schedule on the season, which is the downfall of doing well the previous season. If they're This is going to be a tough season for them. I personally wouldn't be shocked if they even miss the playoffs. I don't think they win the division for sure. I see tough sledding ahead. Sorry, buddy.
So
I
let me
think
ask
that
you a
yeah.
question on that because you've said that multiple times. I'd like you to expand on that. What are the downfalls? What are the pitfalls that you see as to why you think the Bears aren't going to make the playoffs?
Consistency from Caleb Williams. I don't necessarily trust him. It's hard when you see him missing. Yeah, granted, you saw incredible plays off the back foot, but can he just make a simple 15-yard pass on an out route? Can he consistently? I don't know. Again, it really is a strength of schedule for me. And then you're talking about the division rivals here. The Lions and Packers, I expect big steps up. And if they have big steps up, I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to compete for the division. And then they're in the wild card race, which is going to be a tough wild card race this year. There's a lot of good teams in there. I really just think that it's a strength of schedule problem for them, and I don't trust their defense enough to keep them in it. Remember, they had a lot. They were the number one or number two team in defensive turnovers last season. Without that, they would be dead in the water. Can they replicate that success 2 years in a row? Statistically, looking back, it is insanely hard to keep that specific metric up. I don't see it personally.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to debate you. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. I mean, obviously, you got to find ways to win, right? And you could look at it that way. That they found ways to win. So, is it sustainable? Maybe not. Sure, I'd agree with you on that. But I think offensively, they have enough. I think they're an elite offensive team, and I think they have weapons all over the field. That look, they could be like the Cincinnati Bengals type of team, right? We would just, all your games are 44-40. You just you just find a way to outscore the other team each game, but. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to debate you. I was just curious what your thoughts are. We can go
By
back.
the
We
way,
can go back and forth for another half hour. I'm not trying to do that.
just one more dig. How many times have the Bengals made the playoffs in the last 3 years?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think some of that has to do with some Joe Burrow injuries. So throw
Yeah,
some
but that's my
caveats in there,
point.
Mister. But all right.
You are highly dependent. You are highly dependent on everybody being healthy, and you win those toss-up high variance games every single time. I just think the combo is really hard. Anyway, sorry. I'll stop railing on the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an official play for me, but it is fun to see you squirming.
I'm definitely squirming right now. I don't know if you can hear my chair moving side to side. All right, Drew, what are your thoughts? I hope you have a little more peachy outlook than Mister Grinch from Philly over here. What are your thoughts, Drew? Bear down, yeah.
Oh, I'm actually high on the Bears for many reasons. One of the main reasons is I know this sounds crazy, but they got rid of DJ Moore. DJ Moore was kind of more so, he was reminding me of Diggs with the Bills. He was not necessarily like a pest in the locker room, but you could tell his body language wasn't really there. He didn't like not being the number one option all the
AJ
time.
Brown. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think them trading him away to the Bills, I think it'll be better for him in that way. But another thing is they've addressed the linebacker position. They got like Desmond, they got like Devin Bush, Tremaine Edmonds, and I love their draft with Dylan Thieneman, who's one of my favorite safeties in the draft, and I think I'll help the offense a lot. Something I also liked about them, yeah, they're really dependent on Caleb Williams to make, sometimes miraculous plays. But I think with with Caleb Williams being one more year in the system and a full offseason with Ben Johnson, there's going to be a lot less growing pains because with growing pain at the beginning, he has a complicated kind of offense, kind of like Kyle Shanahan, to where you need to have a full offseason. We've seen it multiple times. And also, it's one of the reasons I'm high on the Bears is because of other people in the division. I'm not really high on the Vikings at all. They're very a one dependent team as well too. The Lions are highly dependent on their offense, how it runs, and we kind of saw it with the Packers too. I know we talk about the Bears, they rely on Caleb Williams and then barring injuries and stuff. But when Micah Parsons got hurt, that Packers defense was terrible. They were not a good team and stuff, and they're very reliant on a big piece into that Packers defense. And overall, if you look at the rosters and how they're generated, if Jalen Johnson, can stay healthy for the Bears and other miscellaneous pieces, I think the Bears have a chance to win this division. I can't deny them almost beating the Rams in the playoffs. And we've seen it kind of with Matt LaFleur and the Packers every year. They look promising with not as much talent as they probably like have. And then sometimes, Jordan Love will not I'm a big fan of Jordan Love, but he will be sporadic sometimes. He'll have games where he throws like 3+ interceptions and he's not playing like he should, or there'll be games where they don't necessarily have a running game going because I don't know overall like what the Packers are going to do offensively because we've seen them be stagnant and not, but I think the best, in my personal opinion, the best offensive coordinator no offense to Malfour, in that division is probably Ben Johnson in a way. And I trust I trust the Bears offense the most, but the Packers will have the best defense if Micah can stay healthy and the other pieces can stay healthy. Because I believe the Packers, they lost for Sean Gary, right?
Yeah, I believe they
Yeah,
did.
and that's going to hurt, I think. So we'll see. I think the Bears. I think the Bears right now are the second best team in the division. I put the Lions number one, Packers third, and Vikings fourth.
Keep
That's
preaching, brother. Keep preaching, brother. I love
yeah.
it.
That's how I see.
Great.
That's how I see
Yep,
it.
absolutely.
Because
Great break. Yeah, yeah. Keep going. Keep going. No, keep going. Don't let me stop you. Keep
oh
going.
no,
By the
but
way, I
that
do.
was the final thing because I think the Lions will bounce back. I know you even agreed with that as a Bears fans. Prince probably the if the Lions just clean up the defensive like they have Goff. I know they lost Montgomery, but that will just give Gibbs more to shine. You can you could actually make an argument that Gibbs might be the best offensive player in that division. He's just so good, and if the Lions better keep him, if they don't, then the Lions fans are going to riot.
Yeah, they can bounce back and finish second place. That's fine for them. But yeah. But,
Hey, that's
no,
the highest bone I can throw you, though.
I love it. That's absolutely fantastic breakdown, Drew. Great stuff. Was fully on board, fully support everything you said. I think that was a perfect breakdown of my Chicago Bears. Bear the f down.
I will agree to the point where I think that it's really between the Bears and the Packers, and I think those games are going to be insanely fun. I am curious to see how the Packers bounce back without Rashawn Gary. I mean, that man was a monster. The two-headed monster with him and Micah Parsons together could have been game changing. Unfortunate that we never really got to see them together. I think we saw them for what 15 plays last year together before the
Oh
injury.
yeah, it was like only 15 plays, but on your side, Stern, if Jordan Love can play like we know he can and not have to play through injury and like stuff like that, I think he can be the most dangerous quarterback.
Yeah, so I do agree with you, Prince, there that if the Packers aren't in form, then I think the Bears have a much easier path to the playoffs and probably make the playoffs. If the Packers are back, then that's where I really see the struggles happening. Just
Yeah, well,
from my
The Packers have dominated it long enough. It's our time now. So, you know
the Red
what?
Sox said that for 96 years, okay?
Yeah, well, I don't care how long. That's
Hey,
baseball. We're
your
talking
owner
football.
left the
I don't care
division,
about that.
so you're good now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank God he finally's gone. And because look, he was right when he said he owned us. There was no denying it. I know a lot of Bears fans got all pissed off about that, but it's true. He has owned us, and the Packers have owned us. But it's a new age. It's a new era. It's the era of Caleb and Ben. We're in Ben and Caleb. We trust. And you know what? If the Packers suffer a few injuries, teardrop. Oh, so
I
sad.
can't wait. I'm going to
You
make
don't
a
get to
prediction.
run the division anymore. Oh, too bad for you.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. First time they play, Packers are going to win on a passing interference.
I hate your analysis, Stern. I'm sorry. I just gotta tell you.
If there are any listeners out there who are listening to this fun conversation, feel free to request and give us your take. We would love to hear your opinion. This is a fun little conversation regarding NFL and what's going on for the
Amazing,
season.
amazing show so
Um,
far.
is there any other teams, Prince, that you kind of have your eye out that maybe not so many people are looking at closely?
Oh man, to be honest with you, I haven't really like dug into the NFL yet. I've been, just getting out of the World Cup and still looking at NBA futures and stuff. So off the top of my head, I mean, you'd have to give me a minute. Let's go to Drew first. Give me a minute. Let me see if I can think of somebody.
Yeah,
Drew,
definitely.
yeah.
I would say a team that I think people aren't paying attention to, and I think they win the division because the division is so weak. But the Falcons, I'm going to say this: Falcons have the best roster overall in the NFC South, just top to bottom, like offense to defense. Their one question, of course, is quarterback, but they have all offensive weapons you can possibly dream of. With Pitts, London, Bijan, and Pitts coming to own, I think as more so was a coaching issue in the past with not utilizing a 6'6" monster in Pitts, and we saw it more last year. That utilize more. Bijan is one of the best running backs in the league, and they have a very stacked defense across top to bottom with young talent and not necessarily a high payroll. So if they can get any kind of competent play from the quarterback position, whether from Penix or such, I think they can make a big jump and they can win this division. I know the problem with I'm a big fan of Baker. with the Bucks, but they are depleted. They lost, of course, Mike Evans because Ogden can't stay healthy. I like Amika, but they also lost Rashad White. They do have Bucky, but they don't really have a backup. Their defense is depleted too. They're old. Their payroll is very high, and then I don't think the Panthers do what they did last year. I love Ted McMillan and some pieces of defense, but I think the Falcons are a team that can win this division that people aren't talking about as much.
Yeah, I hear that. What are your guys' thoughts on wow, just went in and out of my head. Um Sorry, hold on. Denver Broncos. Now, they had quite the run, and that was primarily due to their defense. Do we expect them to replicate any of that success again?
Let me answer that question first, Drew, because actually, Stern, that's funny you mentioned that because I'm looking at futures markets right now to make the playoffs and to miss the playoffs. And two teams I'm looking at both at plus money, one to make it and one to miss it. The team I'm looking at to miss it is the Denver Broncos at plus 118. I kind of wonder if we might see some regression from them. To your point, they were so heavily relying on their defense. I don't know if they can replicate that. I mean, I'm not necessarily a big believer in Bo Nix. So curious to see. I mean, of all the teams, I think there's value on that. I'm not necessarily it's going to happen, but I think getting plus money for the Broncos to miss the playoffs, there's probably some value on that. Because looking at the other teams here that are plus money, I think they're all pretty much locks to make the playoffs. So I think of all the teams, they can get a plus money. Probably the Denver Broncos would be the best value to miss the playoffs. And then, yeah, I'll talk about my second play next. But what are your thoughts on it?
I'm not really sure, but I'm very excited to see what Jalen Waddle does in that offense. I do happen to
Yeah.
like them. I think that when you have a good defensive scheme and then you have the majority of the players coming back the year after, I think that's a good continuation. And I mean, I kind of
Continuity.
expect, yeah, I kind of expect them to be competitive. And then again, if Bonix could just do the minimum that he needs to do, I think that they have a good chance to make the playoffs. I understand the price, and I'm not going one way or the other, but I would expect them to make the playoffs. The plus money on not to make the playoffs makes sense to me.
Yeah, tough
I'm
division too, right? With the Chiefs and Chargers there. Yeah, go ahead, Drew. What are your
I
thoughts?
would say I'm high on Knicks. I mean, if anything, show how valuable Knicks is to that team. Look what happened when you didn't play in the AFC Championship game. He torched the Buck. He torched the Bills. He does what he's supposed to do in that offense and find ways to win games. Yeah, he may not look as flashy in all the ways, but that offense didn't know what the heck to do without him in the AFC Championship game. So that's all I'm going to say about when it comes to the Broncos. Not saying he's a top five quarterback, but he is definitely a quarterback knows how to perform when he needs to perform and when it matters most.
Yeah, and then real quick, I do have one futures bet to make the playoffs. Stern, this one's going to piss you off, so I'm not even going to ask you because I know your response is just going to be nothing but full of haterade. So, Drew, I'm going to ask your thoughts instead. The Dallas Cowboys to make the playoffs. How about them Cowboys? Plus 105. What do you think, Drew?
No, no, they're not making the playoffs. I don't think they win the division. In my personal opinion, I think Dak is a good quarterback, and they do have some good weapons overall. But I don't know. Jerry Jones kind of irks me in the way with how he runs things. At the
Man,
end
but
of the
what about
day,
that
and I think the
offense,
NFC
though?
is too stacked.
What about that
So
offense, though, Drew?
how about this? They have to win the division. They don't. Not. I don't think anyone in that division is going to get a wild card spot because you need to think about this. You have, say, the Seahawks win the division, right? You have the Niners and Rams fighting for a wild card spot, right? And then say if the Lions win the division, you have the Bears and Packers fighting for a wild card spot. No one's going to get a wild card spot in the NFC South, right? So I think there's three wild card teams overall, right, that make it or something like that. So I would like I'm just curious, like where would you see like them possibly unless they win the division? You know what I'm
I don't know,
saying?
man. I think Dak's going to lead the league in passing yards. In Dak
Oh
we
yeah,
trust, no?
yeah. You'll lead the league in passing yards, and then they'll be 8 and 9.
For the record, by the way, Prince, I like the plus money for them to make the playoffs.
Wow, I'm shocked. Okay, now I gotta hear your
I
thoughts,
don't
sir.
like myself for
Why do
saying
you
that.
like it? Oh, I love hearing you say that. Look at you. Oh, you come a
I
long
said
way,
it at the
Stern.
beginning of the show. I said it. I said it. The Cowboys offensively are one of the elite units of the regular season. I don't think they go far in the playoffs, but they have a definite chance anytime they're on the field. I mean, I have to go through it, but I would assume that they're a top 5 offensive unit. Their defense
I
is the
agree,
question for me. But let's bring in
100%.
Slim. Slim requested to speak. Thank you, Slim, for being a longtime listener. What are your thoughts on this very interesting conversation?
Hey, I appreciate y'all letting me come on, and I mean, hey, y'all doing a great job. Keep it up. I got to speak on that one. Dallas, I'm in Dallas. The Cowboys will not make the playoffs ever again until Jerry Jones is gone. I keep saying that. I've been saying it for years, and it's gonna be the same. They're prima donnas. I mean, when you got a show and Jerry Jones is like I mean, it's all about the money for him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, and I'm a Saints fan, but all my friends, a lot of my friends and family in Dallas, they love him to death. Even my family in Louisiana, they love him. And I'm just like, how do y'all like the Cowboys? I mean, but it is what it is. It's funny because I mean, we have, and don't get me wrong, they got a great offense, but Jerry Jones, that's their problem right there. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth.
Yep, exactly. That's kind of what I was mentioning, and I'm sure you heard it.
Ye-
It's just like Jerry, as long as Jerry Jones is there, man, it turns into kind of not, I don't want to say clown show because it's respectful, but it turns into more of a business than actually winning at the end of the day because he wants to make the money. And that offense, they get a little better with Quinton Williams. I mean, that defense got a little better with Quinton Williams, but that doesn't change the fact that they do have holes everywhere. And it's just anytime their offense produces, it seems like they find a way to lose certain games. And what do you think, Slim, to the fact that like they would have to win the division because the NFC is so stacked?
say it again. I didn't hear the
I
last
was saying,
part.
do you think they would have to win the division because the NFC is so stacked with wild card teams across the board?
Oh, I mean, I don't think they'll win the division. Honestly, I mean, they'll get some wins. Like I watched them more last year, to be honest, like because I kind of gambled on them a little bit here and there, and then I seen them, and I'm just like, now I see why people don't bet on them because they'll burn you at the last minute. But just like, like watching the games and stuff, like at some of the buddies' house, and they're diehard. I mean, like diehard Cowboy fans. I mean, and but I just don't think like the games that they should win, they don't win. And the ones that, vice kind of like vice versa. But yeah, I don't think that and if they do make the play, I mean, I know they're not, but I don't think they will. Like I say, Jerry Jones is their issue. Everybody on the team is well, not everybody, but a lot of them is prima donnas, even from back in the day, like Michael Irvin, C.D. Lamb. I mean, like uh, now, and but the offense is good, and then like. I thought that was just crazy to let Michael Parsons go. Now I mean, you really don't want to win now, and I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I'm just a sports fanatic. Like
Wait, so hold on. They did add Rashawn Gary. Very interesting that him and Parsons basically swapped teams. They did add Gary to the team, which will allow their defense to make more mistakes. And what I mean by that is the opposing offenses are going to have a lot less time to figure out the Cowboys' defensive structure in a matter of time, and I think that will help them a lot. How about this bet? All right. I just saw this at plus 340 over on DK. A NFL East exacta. Philadelphia Eagles to finish first, Dallas Cowboys to finish second at plus 340. Seems like an interesting sprinkle right there. Slim, any thoughts on that?
uh, I don't. Mm, I could see Philadelphia number one, but I just don't. Maybe Cowboys number three or four. I don't see them number two. I can't even remember who's in their division. I know it's what Washington, Dallas, Philadelphia, the Giants, and who else is it? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's it for their divisions. Just those four.
Okay. So Washington, I could see, Philadelphia, um, and maybe I don't know.
It's a tough
I'm
one,
just not
right?
a Dallas.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a tough one.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I can see maybe the Giants ahead of the Cowboys. Honestly, I know I've got the Cowboys up like plus 105. I'm a little bit trolling with that, but
yeah.
I don't know if
I
I don't
would
know if
say
I
yeah.
necessarily fully believe that the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs. I just think there's some value on that at plus money. But we're running up against it. But it's Slim. Since we got you on, I'm curious. Since you said you're a Saints fan, we don't really talk about the Saints much. I know it's kind of really the country doesn't talk about the Saints much right now because let's face it, they're not really a contender per se. But what are your thoughts as a Saints fan yourself? Like, how do you feel about the season coming up here for the New Orleans Saints, Slim?
I feel we got a decent chance of 50-50 chance with a few. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't like once basketball, I pick it up once, NFL preseason come around, but I think we got a 50-50 chance. With a few like pickups. I haven't really kept up with the pickup or who we picked up and everything. I probably gonna have to go on there and look, but um, I want to say I can't remember the quarterback,
Shook,
and
Tyler
I know
Shook.
is it
Yeah,
Shook?
yeah, the Shook, the rookie
Okay,
from last year.
so but then I want to say we picked up a offensive receiver, didn't we? Or I'm not. Like I said, I didn't keep up with the draft and here lately, but. I mean, just from last year, and I mean, hopefully, if we could get the running back going, the defense is suspect, but I think we got a 50-50
By the
chance.
way,
Yeah,
And I mean,
the Saints drafted Jordan Tyson, 8th overall in this year's draft, and adding Devon Veal and Bryce Lance to that wide receiver depth chart. By the way, pretty good news on Tyler Shaw. He has a pretty good season. 12th best in turnover rate among qualified quarterbacks, 16th in accuracy on off target rate and pass rate over expected. He got out. He was 27th in sack rate, which obviously that's a offensive line problem, but he was pretty good. I liked what we saw from him. He was a really nice person to bet on last season, pretty consistently actually. Although I will say I don't trust them. Their cornerback situation is atrocious. I don't think their defense will be able to hold them into games, which has really been their primary concern over the last few seasons. Just can't stop the ball. Prince, any thoughts on further thoughts on that? Sorry for jumping in.
no, you're good. No, that's all. I was just curious. I mean, I'm kind of with him. I need to brush up too, and there's been a lot of transactions that I probably missed out on with the NBA, and of course, like I said, I was knee deep in the World Cup. So, as we get closer to the NFL preseason, I'll start getting into it more, getting into the updated rosters, injury reports, start getting into fantasy football, and all that stuff. Probably here in about a couple weeks, start getting heavy duty into the NFL here as we come up to it. And what, just a month and a half away now, right?
Yes, we are. Wow. Can't believe it's coming up so fast. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great season. Looking forward. New models that I'm building for the season, which should be helpful in making better picks, and definitely going to be looking forward to creating that weekly NFL article once again. All right. Just go around the horde. We're at 12:35 on the season, on the time here in the show. Slim, any last thoughts before we get to our question of the day? And feel free to stay on for the question of the day if you want to answer as well.
okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna just say I'm kind of been linking more in on, since WNBA and baseball. Yeah, anybody like, what do y'all think on home run props today?
That's an interesting one. Let me look into it while we're answering the question of the day, and I'll see if I can get one for you by the end of the show. Prince, any 8 home run props or any last thoughts before we get to the question of the day, which you brought yesterday?
Yeah, no last thoughts for me, huh?
Drew, anything else?
No, we do have one early game for baseball, so that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, very excited for that. Be careful betting on those games. I did have the Guardians game 2 on the run line. You can play that on the money line if you want, but it's definitely a play on my book. All right, question of the day, Prince. Why don't you give it to us?
Yeah, so we were talking about this last night a little bit in our group text. And we thought we'd bring it onto the show today and see, kind of get into it a little bit more. So we're talking about movies, right? Of course, there's a big movie release right now. Everyone's talking about it over on social media. It's called The Odyssey, and we kind of, I was going into that a little bit, and it brought us to a topic of, would you rather see movies at the theater or at home? Which do you prefer? If given the option between the two. Forget about kids, right? Don't forget about, because obviously kids throw a wrench into it sometimes. Like, they may not be able to sit still in the theater, so that is a caveat. So forget about like as an adult. Which would you prefer? Stern, I'll go to you first. What do you think?
I mean, I gotta say, give me the whole movie setup. I like going to the theater, but it's just so darn expensive. $80 for like two popcorns and two tickets, and that's it. I can't justify it to myself. Yeah, sure. Are there certain movies that we would like to see in theaters versus at home? Yeah. But would I also like to bring my own snacks and pee whenever I want? Yeah, I also want to do that. The comfort of our homes are so much more advanced than they were 50, 60 years ago that I'm perfectly happy staying at home, man. I don't see any reason to leave the house.
Drew, what about you?
Yeah, I would say for certain movies, I definitely prefer to. I'm the type of person who likes to take advantage of like the reward systems, whether at like Harkins, you can buy like certain cups to where you can do like $3 refills when you go there and stuff. And if you just think of the right snacks, I agree with Stern in the fact that it's like very expensive with like tickets and stuff. Um, I enjoyed it a lot more back then when it used to be there wasn't necessarily reserved seats, and the fun part was having to show up early, get the seat you want. You got the seat you want, you were very happy, and midnight showings were actually a thing. Now midnight showings are like the day before at 9 p.m. It's not like the same in that way. I miss that rush and stuff of the movie theaters in the back. Then I think part of the reason is kind of to do with what was mentioned. With we have a lot more advanced TVs. TVs are a lot cheaper then like getting like a 60 plus inch TV is a lot cheaper than it was back then because they're easier to make and you can like sit home. But if I had a choice, I'd love to go to the big theater and just sit there, just peace of mind and stuff, and feel the vibrations of the theater and sit in those like recliner seats. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll answer first, but before I do, since we got Slim on, Slim, you got any thoughts on this question? Do you prefer to watch movies in the theater or at home? If you want to answer, if you don't want to answer, it's fine.
No, I answer. I like the movie theater. I mean, it's been a while since I've been and but I mean, I back in the day I used to go to the movie theater, but now that I done got older, I'm like Stern. I kind of like to be at the house because just be able to go to the restroom, not have to go across a bunch of people, eat what you want, all that good, like just all of that. But don't get me wrong, I like the movie theater. Just ain't been in a while. And then, like you say, the prices is just outrageous, nowadays. But if I can, watch it in, the same movie in the privacy of my home and, be chill, don't have to worry about somebody want to come in and shoot the movie up, or something like that type of thing. But yeah, I rather watch it at the house, in my, just chill, have food, whatever you do.
Sounds like a
Yeah,
perfectly reasonable thing to be suspicious about going out to the movie theaters. Gosh, where are we doing here?
right. No, crazy. My God. Yeah. No. I mean, I tend to agree with you guys too. Like I would say, probably 95% of movies that I watch, I'll wait for it to come on streaming, right? And not even like where you got to pay for it, but just literally like the free streaming, like Netflix or where you don't have to pay anything extra. It's just part of your subscription, right? Like that's what I'll do. Like 95% of the movies, but I would say there are like few movies like that. For me personally, like I want to feel like the full experience of it. The only way you get there a lot of times is by going to watch it like at the movie theater, like IMAX or something, or Dolby Digital, something like that. Like there's very few movies that you're like, okay, you know what? No, I gotta get the whole experience with this one because I'm not gonna get it at home. But I think that's like kind of shows though, and like the decline of like the movie theater in general, right? I think overall like theaters are down in terms of like sales and ticket sales and stuff like that because it's just easier for people now to just watch it at home and the comfortability at home. Like you guys say, you go get up, use the bathroom, you can put it on pause. You're not gonna miss anything. If you want to rewind it, you can rewind it. You can kind of watch it on your own time and do it how you want as opposed to being stuck to a certain time frame and having to if the theater's crowded you got to worry about everybody else around you, you can't check your phone, all that kind of stuff, right? So I think there's just a lot more convenience to watching at home, but I do still think there's a place for movies in the theaters, just for those few movies that you really want to like get the best out of the like special effects and stuff like that. Yeah, Drew, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on what you said to certain movies. Like, for example, I'm a big like Marvel superhero fan and like certain, fans of certain stuff. Like I remember when um the Spider-Man with like Tobey Maguire and such came out. I want to see it in theaters, like the brand new day that's coming out. I'm probably gonna want to see it in theaters, like certain ones. And then I was like doing some like research on this kind of last night. The one thing they were talking about that absolutely kind of destroyed going to the movie theaters, of course, is like the improvement of the home stuff, the cost and stuff. But the number one thing actually is what they like polled people was streaming services release them now like right after. Because the reason why we went to the movie theaters beforehand is because there really wasn't streaming services that released them. You would have to wait they like come out on DVD and then you could see it. And nobody wanted to wait it that long. But now that there's streaming services that will literally come like Amazon Prime and stuff, it makes it so like, oh, I can just watch it after. I don't have to wait a year for it to go on DVD. So
Yep,
Yep, couldn't
definitely
agree
hear
couldn't
that.
agree more.
All right, by the way, I
Yeah,
just wanted to mention this because this was a thought of mine while we were having this conversation. The last well, I guess I'll give you the two movies that I most enjoyed in theaters. The first one, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Phenomenal experience. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely worth an in-theater experience. The second one was the Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, which was phenomenal to be seen on the big screen. Other than that, I don't really have a, a lot of love for in theaters.
Real
love
question.
those two.
I'm curious. Forgive me, I'm a little outdated on my comic movies, but into the multiverse, is that the animated one or no?
Yes, it was the new type of animation from Sony,
The very
and
first
it
one though,
was
right? It was the very first one because I think there's like two of them now. Are there not for
yes,
that
yeah.
series?
I'm
Yeah,
talking about the first one.
the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just
I'm with you. I saw it in the theaters too. Unbelievable experience. Yeah, that was such a good
Miles
movie to watch.
Morales, right?
Yep, Miles Morales. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Such a good movie. Yeah.
Um. All right.
Real,
If we, oh yeah, go on, go on, go on.
Yeah, sorry. Just one more fun question. I know we're like 15 minutes over, but just one more real fun question since we're on the movie theater topic. We probably won't revisit this again. All right. Do you sneak in candy to the theaters? I think everyone does. And if you do, what is your favorite movie theater candy to eat while you're watching a
Oh
movie?
my God, yeah. My favorite trip to the theater is CVS on the way, and it would have to be those red and yellow semi sour sweet Twizzlers, if you know what that is. They're
Sour
phenomenal.
sweet Twizzlers. Okay.
They're like red and yellow. They're red and yellow. They're like semi sour. They're like sour sweet kind of. They're Twizzlers basically, but with like filling inside.
Ooh, nice.
Absolutely love it. And they're not available. They're really only available in like certain locations. I think like Walmart has them, CVS has them, but they're not everywhere. They're my favorite by far.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, for me, I always stop at Dollar Tree. I'm gonna go even cheaper than you. Dollar Tree, what $1.25 now, but whatever. They got all the same candy there. They got the theater. You pay $5-6 for it. So why the hell would I do that, right? So I'm gonna get the theater candy from there. Usually, I go for Raisinets. That's usually my go-to, or Reese's Pieces, one of those two. But those are the two that I usually go to. And then, if I'm feeling really cheap, I'll sneak in a drink too. Especially in the winter, it's easier to do it in the winter because you wear a coat, right? So you just sneak that into your pocket. Nobody knows if the theater's empty. You don't even got to worry about anyone hearing you like open a can of pop or anything because there's nobody there. So
Wait, hold on, hold on,
little
hold on.
little
You're going to
tricks.
a theater with a can of Coke? Get a
Oh yeah.
freaking bottle, you maniac.
No, the
Get a
bottle.
bottle.
No, the bottle's too big. The can's smaller. The can fits in your pocket easier. You gotta have a big ass pocket if you're gonna do the bottle. So I just rather do the can because it fits easier.
Not a 2 liter bottle, like
Yeah, I
the
know.
36
I
ounce
know.
bottle.
Yeah, 36. You talking about 20 ounce? No, that's too big, man. It's
whatever it
obvious,
is.
the shape of it. I don't want them looking at me all weird, like, oh, this dude in here sneaking in a bottle of Coke. Like, the can is pretty. You can't really tell if you got big pockets. So I'll go for the can, or even if I don't have a big enough pocket. I'll go as cheap as I'll buy some Capri Sun or something and put it in the fridge. It's nice and flat and compact, and it fits real nice into your pocket. It doesn't make a sound when you open it. So if I know it's gonna be busy or something, I'll just sneak that in there. And as soon as that loud scene comes on, I'll just pop that little straw into the hole, and I got myself a drink with my Reese's Pieces and my Raisinets, with a little
Tell
strawberry kiwi Capri Sun. And
you,
that's it for you want to be even more safe.
this answer is also the answer to tell me what year you were born without telling me what year you were born in.
Yes, very much so. Although I think don't the kids still drink Capri Sun, do they not? Come on, man, that's still a thing.
I
I
don't
see. I
know.
I
First
see
of
it in the
all,
grocery stores. It's still
it
there.
was
It's on the
high C
shelves.
for me. It was always high C, not
Oh,
Capri Sun.
okay. Only reason I say Capri Sun is because that little pouch is easier. You want to get away from the bottle, guys. Right? This is how you guys sneak in drinks and candy into the theaters. You want to be as inconspicuous as possible. So if you can get something that's flat that you can flatten, that doesn't really stick out. I mean, it's obvious to see a bottle, right? You don't want to be awkward and be like, "Oh, what's in your pocket?" "Oh, just my orange juice and my bottle of Coke." Like, then they kick you out. Like, "Oh, you're
Here,
not supposed to bring
okay,
that in
Prince.
here." Right?
Here's another solution, and it's kind of It's not so nice, but you can definitely get away with it. What you do is you bring like a diaper bag. You put some like case, like for instance, like I have kids who have like medical shots that they need, like for allergies and stuff. So all I do is I bring that case with me, and I hide everything inside. And when they ask me what's in it, I'm like medicine.
Okay, but hold on. Okay, but hold on. But you got your kids with you, though, right?
No.
Oh.
I just take the bag.
Wow, that's pretty bold. All right, then. Yeah, you're braver than me. I feel like they would question me, like, "Sir, why are you bringing a bag? There's no bags allowed."
I'm
And then they
allergic to
open it and say,
peanuts. I need the shot. I don't know. Come on.
I don't know. I don't want them saying like, we have those drinks here. And we're like, yeah, but I don't want to pay for it. That becomes a whole nother topic. That's even more embarrassing. We're trying to be cheap on the low, guys. That's how you do it, all right? You got to be inconspicuous about it. Don't be
It's not
obvious, all
cheap.
right?
It's frugal.
Yes, frugal. Thank you, frugal. Economically efficient. Drew, sorry, you've had your hand up for like 5 minutes as I've been rambling along about how to sneak in candy and drinks. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, no, you're good. I was gonna say usually what I do. I mean, usually I use like when I go to Harkins, they have like their seasonal cup that you can buy. You can it's like $2 or $3 for a refill, which I like. But usually, my Target they have sometimes they'll have this like 10 for 10 deal with movie theater boxes, and I'll just like stack them. It's like $1 per box. I love Skittles. And my daughter and me, we love the Sour Patch watermelon candies. And then there's Starburst I used to love, not a big fan of. It just gets stuck in my teeth. But something I noticed with movie theaters nowadays, and I don't know if it's just around my area, because I remember back then they would like heavily research you and there's like security there is scary. But now I feel like they don't care. And that 'cause the reason they don't care is because they make enough money off of that is because like I've literally had a time where I literally accidentally was holding a candy in my hand. I walked in, I was like, oh dang it. And the person who's checking my ticket didn't even notice. Like, or they didn't care. Because
Well,
I think
probably.
movie theaters just don't care anymore at the
Well,
end of the day, which is crazy.
probably the only reason they don't care is because, like, oh my God, someone's actually here to see a movie. This is our first ticket sold today. Hey, that's all right. You want to bring your drinks? It's all right because
Yeah, it's
we get no business anymore. So that's all right. We'll let you bring in your drinks and your candy. Thanks for
yeah, I'll
buying the
bring your
ticket.
candy when a box costs like $7 to buy when I can get it $1 at Target.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing, guys, another thing you can do if you're really hungry. All right, and I've done this before. Okay, look, this is a no shame podcast. All right, I'm gonna lay it all out here, guys. All right.
Yeah, we
You're,
got that when you said you ate Pringles with ketchup, which
yeah,
I
I
will
guess we
never
figured that out a
forget for the
month ago,
rest of
right?
my life.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Yes. Okay, that's already been clarified then. Well, let's just expound on that then. And if you're really hungry, right, and you're like, man, I'm so hungry, but I'm not about to sit here and pay $25 for some nachos and a large drink. One thing I'll do is like I look for a fast food restaurant nearby, right? Preferably Wendy's. Go get you like a junior bacon cheeseburger and some fries. just stuck it in your pocket, man. They're not gonna know. But actually, one time they did, and it was kind of awkward. The guy told me, he's like, "Can you empty your pockets?" And I did, and he's like, "Yeah, you gotta go." And that was really awkward. It was pretty
I
embarrassing.
love Wendy's,
But
I've heard
yeah,
of
especially
a
on Wendy's
pocket
Wednesday.
dog. I've never heard of a pocket burger.
oh
I've
yeah,
I've
oh
done that on
yeah,
a Wednesday before with Wendy's
oh
Wednesday
yeah.
friends.
Yep.
Actually,
Yep,
yeah. Oh,
go get you a 4 for 4 and get those nuggets and the fries and then just stuck it all in your pocket. Especially if it's a coat pocket, just shove it all in there. It's gonna bulge out a little bit, but no, they won't know any better. The thing is like your hat and gloves or something.
oh, that's why I
You
love going
know,
with my wife. So there's an excuse to bring a purse.
well, that's your best bet. Yeah, if you have someone who has a person, obviously that's your food carrier, right? But otherwise, if not, then you got to use the coat with the
Honestly,
big
I could bring a
pockets.
purse. They, oh, well, what are they gonna do? Question me?
That's true. Never mind. Let me not. It's
All
Oh,
right, all
like no,
right.
2026.
the best
It's
is a diaper
2026.
bag.
Anything goes now, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if I bring my son, I could bring a diaper bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you bring, yeah, that's your best bet. But
You could
otherwise,
not
you
pay
got to
me
be
enough
creative.
to bring my kid to a movie theater. I'm just saying that's not the day that I want to spend with my kid for 2.5 hours while he's either going to scream, poop, or whatever it is. But let's bring it back to sports. Unless Slim, you have any favorite candy that you want to bring, and then I'll get into my home run pick because I actually was researching it during this conversation, and I absolutely love one of these plays. But Slim, what's your favorite movie
Um,
snack?
my movie candy. Let me see. It's been a while, but I would probably have to say I like gosh, what is those the Harbor Bears.
Oh
I
yeah, the
think it is. They
gummies.
got bears
Yeah,
and yes, they're gummies. They're like sweet sour. I like those, and
good choice. Yeah.
I like the worms as well. Um, so I really like all their brand of candy actually. So, but I'm a big candy. I mean, I had to slow down, but but I actually like all candy to be honest about it. Like anytime whenever I'll just say this. So whenever I go to the store, I get a different piece of candy every time. Like I try something. Like I didn't try it even from oh man, what's that? Beach nut. Like it was some candies back in the day that they brought back out, and I was like, I ain't never tried, but let me try it now. It was actually pretty good. I want to say it was like beach nut or something. I can't remember what it was, but it reminded me of something. It was like a Chico stick, but it was called something else though. I can't remember but yeah, I would say like I like every candy actually, to be honest. And I because like I said, as even now it's like my nieces and nephews, my kids, big candy. Like so I would have to say my favorite would be the bears, but like I said, I like all candy. I can't think of nothing that I don't like.
I'm on board with that actually. And by the way, if you like candy, if you ever have a friend or family going overseas to like any European or Asian country, ask them to bring back some of their local candies. They do not make it with the corn syrup that Americans make their candy with. They make it with 100% sugar, which actually changes the taste quite significantly. And there's nothing better than getting some of these random countries' candies, like the gummies specifically, because they're so much better than America, what we have in America. Not saying that America doesn't have the best volume of choices, but I think that the actual quality of candy goes up overseas. But let's get to one more baseball play, and this is going to be a Slim special here. Give me Dylan Dingler. Home run plus 432. I was looking at this during this conversation. You're going to give me against someone who really struggles on the road. Dean Kramer, 640 something ERA on the road. He's given up an average of 2 home runs over the last he gave up like 1 last game, 0 the game before that, 4 the 3 games ago, and then 1 basically every single game previously. You also have 17.7 miles per hour wind blowing out, 73.5-degree weather. This is just too good of an opportunity. Dylan Dingler plus 430 is just too good of a line. If you use FanDuel, you can get a boost, and I got this boosted to plus 600. Slim, hopefully that fills that niche of the pick that you're looking for. If we were still doing our daily home run picks, that would 100% be my play for the day. All right, let's get to our recap, though. We are almost closing in on an hour and a half. Drew, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, for sure. Great show. I love it. I have Sandy Alcantara over 17.5 at minus 163. I'm going to use a 25% boost to bring it to minus 130.
Phenomenal. I have to find my play because I have been working on the side. Brewers, Giants, first three under 2.5 minus 130. And then on the show, home run pick, Dylan Dingler, plus 432 over on DK. Also gave up two leans that I'm probably going to make official. Chargers and Bills parlayed to make the playoffs, plus 109 over on DK. NFL East exacta, first Eagles, second Cowboys, plus 340, also on DK. All right, Prince, close us out, brother.
All right, yep. So for me, guys, looking at the Champions League qualifying, give me the Hearts on the money line at minus 125. We're also looking at the Faroe Islands Premier League, B36 Torchhaven, ABR Gear over 3 goals at plus 100. In the Women's African Cup of Nations, I'm going to take Nigeria to score first, plus over 2.5 goals at minus 125. And then in the WNBA, I'm going to be on the Las Vegas Aces, minus 10.5 at minus 115. And I'm also going to be on the New York Liberty, minus 4.5. That one also at minus 115. That's going to do it, guys. This has been the Only Bet Sports Podcast Tuesday edition alongside Stern Bet Drew DeLucchio on the Prince of Picks. Shout out to Slim for his contributions and thoughts. We'll be back again tomorrow live on X at 11:30 a.m. Eastern at Only Bets Podcast. Let's cash out these tickets. Have a great afternoon. And hey, how about them Cowboys? Bear down. See y'all tomorrow.